What people are doing with ChatGPT's new native image functionality is insane. This is a Studio Ghibli version of the Lord of the Rings trailer. Watch this. So it's overlaid with the actual sound from the trailer, but I'm not gonna play that because I don't want my video to get taken down. So we can see the volcano, there's the ring, completely Studio Ghibli style. And I'm gonna tell you how this person actually built it because they detailed how it worked and it was easy. You can do this too. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous and everything looks good. We are at a tipping point for image and video generation. Visual artists everywhere should be looking at this and thinking about how they can leverage it for their own work. This is going to empower a new generation of artists and creators to create things that we never thought were possible and in such a short period of time. Here's You Shall Not Pass. Amazing. Absolutely stunning. So this was created by PJ Ace. And what if Studio Ghibli directed Lord of the Rings? I spent $250 in Kling credits and 9 hours re-editing the Fellowship trailer to bring that vision to life. I'll show you exactly how I did it. So if you're wondering, here is a side-by-side comparison of the two trailers. Okay, so you can see the real one on top and then the Studio Ghibli remake on the bottom. Okay, so his process, screenshot all 102 shots in the trailer. Here's some examples. Screenshot them all one by one, then convert each of them using OpenAI's new native image generation. And he said he used it in Sora. It's also available in Sora, but also ChatGPT, and convert each of those screenshots over to the Studio Ghibli style. And the cool thing about this is, although Studio Ghibli is the kind of trend right now, it could be anything. It can be South Park style, it can be Simpsons style, it can be Lego, it can be Minecraft. Anything could be completely something made up. It doesn't have to be based on an existing IP. Then animate it in Kling AI and Luma Labs AI. And remember, Kling and Luma Labs are both video generation model companies. And it's kind of interesting that they decided not to use Sora, but maybe Sora rejected it because it's obviously protected IP. Then re-edit in sync with trailer. So here's an example with Sora. I use prompts like recreate this in the style of Studio Ghibli, intricately detailed. Make sure the composition, colors, and vibe is similar. The scene pictured shows black cloaked figures on black horses riding away from a massive wave of water on a riverbed that is chasing the riders. So not only did he provide the screenshot, the original screenshot, he also provided a description of what's going on in the scene. So here it is. Here's the original screenshot we can see here. Here's that prompt that I just said. And as we can see in the background, it is converted to Studio Ghibli style. Same thing here. Here's the original. We have the dark horses followed by a raging river of water coming at them. And as we can see in the background, there it is, recreated in Studio Ghibli style. And everybody is getting on this Studio Ghibli trend. And I'll show you a bunch more examples soon. So he goes on to say, I didn't have time to lip sync them. So in Kling and Luma, I just used prompts like a man yells fearful, a woman talks concerned, brows furrowed. But you could lip sync them easily. And he said he actually used half Kling, half Luma, and when one didn't work, switched to the other. And this same person just a few months ago went viral for taking a Studio Ghibli movie and converting it into live action, and apparently got a lot of death threats, which is kind of nuts. This is just people having fun. Calm down. And he also, back a few months ago, did a Lord of the Rings anime style. So he has created some really cool stuff, really awesome stuff, PJ Ace. And he's not the only one taking the Studio Ghibli theme to its max. Here's a trailer for Dune. Look at this. All right, so I'm going to pause it there. I'll link to all this in the description below. And by the way, Dune, one of the best sci-fi movies ever made, Dune and Dune 2. Alex says 28 minutes from idea to export. That's all it took to do this. It's not perfect, but still impressive. And he also used Sora, so not ChatGPT, but again, same product, and Kling AI. So this is all done with ChatGPT's new native image model, plus Kling or Luma Labs from the previous video. So if you want to make something like this, you absolutely can. And again, you don't need to base it off of an existing IP. Come up with your own stuff too. And if you do, tag me on Twitter about it. I will repost it. I want to check it out. I love this stuff. I know all of these AI tools are piling up so quickly, it's hard to keep up with, which is why I suggest taking a look at HubSpot's AI Productivity Stack Guide. HubSpot put together a list of the 50 best AI tools and broke them all down with specific use cases. If you're feeling overwhelmed, and especially if you're not sure which AI tools apply to which use cases, this is a great guide for you. This guide breaks down all of the most popular AI tools, their use cases, the pros and cons, key features, pricing, how it's used, and more. And while it has some of the biggest names like Perplexity and Claude, it also has a ton you may not have heard of. And my favorite part is towards the end where they break down pitfalls to avoid, like overly relying on AI without checking its work. I am guilty of that at times. This resource is completely free, provided by HubSpot. You can download it right now. I'm going to drop the link in the description below. And once again, thank you to HubSpot for sponsoring this segment. Now, back to the video. And maybe surprising to some of you, ChatGPT's new image model is actually not only capable of Studio Ghibli stuff, it also can do things like this. So this is a realistic photo of Albert Einstein in the gym sweating it up. So lifelike photos and infographics, it seems to be really good at. Look at this. How to live in New York. Move too fast, pay way too much, shove past people, complain constantly. Everything is just super detailed, super crisp, no mistakes. And I think that's what people are noticing most of all. GPT-4o native image rarely makes mistakes. Out of all the things that I've generated with it, I think I've seen a couple minor mistakes with letters, but here's one, perfect. And then you can take that and put it in another image. So that exact one, put in a realistic photo of somebody holding up it in, I think that's Washington Square Park. Here's another example, how to take your cat on a leash walk. Choose the right harness. Get your cat accustomed. Practice indoors first. Start slowly outside. And then, just like the other one, you can put that kind of cartoonish infographic into a hyper-realistic photo. So the cat is looking at the infographic itself. So really cool stuff. This is by Ali K. Miller. Here's an absolutely gorgeous map of the world. And it got it all right, I think. Here's one mistake. So instead of Indian Ocean, it says Innoian Ocean. So there's one little mistake that I noticed there. This also just says green. So, okay, a couple little mistakes, but overall, not bad at all. And then we take that same map and we put it in a realistic photo of two penguins looking at it. And now that I'm looking into it a little bit more, I do see a couple other little textual errors. And this, if you're in the United States, will feel way too real. This is exactly what visiting the DMV feels like. And celebrities are getting in on it too. Mike Tyson, the champ, has said, "My happy place." This is kind of a famous photo of him, and he made it into Studio Ghibli style, of course. And then if I scroll down a little bit, his more recently famous photo of him walking around nude during his interview prior to fighting Jake Paul. And honestly, all I see in my X timeline are ChatGPT photos, and mostly Studio Ghibli, but a lot of others as well. And even Sam Altman is surprised. So images in ChatGPT are way more popular than we expected. And we had pretty high expectations. Rollout to our free tier is unfortunately going to be delayed for a while. And he actually changed his own Twitter profile to Studio Ghibli as well. And so did I. Let me show you that real quick. So this is my new profile picture. If you know, you know. And as I said, it really seems like GPT-4o image is just absolutely taking over social media. So Grant Slatton says, honestly, OpenAI is incredibly fortunate. The positive vibes of Ghibli was the first viral use of their model and not some awful deep fake nonsense. And Sam Altman replies, believe it or not, we put a lot of thought into the initial examples we show when we introduce new technology. And he's right. That was one of the examples from the live stream. So congrats on that. You really just hit the trend right out of the park. And this person, Kitse, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry, but do you understand it's over for graphical designers? Like over. This is a John Wick movie poster. Here are the kind of two famous people, the shooters from the Olympics. And yeah, just easily put into here. I don't think it's over for graphical designers. I just think graphical designers are just going to have more tools at their disposal. But I also think this allows anybody, even people who are not familiar with Photoshop and Illustrator and Premiere and DaVinci, all of these tools, you don't need to be as familiar with them anymore. We are in the age of vibe anything. So vibe coding is very popular right now, and something I'm going very deep on, which is you don't actually need to know how code works. You just tell AI to do it for you. And same here. We're seeing the same thing. You don't need to know Photoshop. You simply describe in natural language what you want. And I keep saying this. The only two things are going to matter at the end of the day, and when I say the end of the day, I mean probably about 5, 8, 10 years from now, are data and taste. That is why my profile picture is Rick Rubin. Here's another example of what you can do with native image generation. So create an image, a screenshot of Wikipedia page for cats with images and proper explanations for how cats work. And there it is. It's not the full Wikipedia page, maybe if you're looking at it on mobile, but honestly, it looks great. If we look at all the text, most of the text is correct, I'll say. There's a little mistake right here, but otherwise the cats look gorgeous. The diagram of each of the parts of the cat more or less look correct. I think two of these things are pointing at the liver. This is the liver and this is the small intestine, both pointing at the same thing. But overall, I mean, for zero shot, this is really good. Here's Tobi Lutke, the CEO of Shopify. OpenAI cooked. How is this even real? Okay, I don't even know what this thing is on my son's t-shirt. Anyways, please make a clean and academic plausible anatomy diagram of this animal. And here it is. So this says I don't think that's right. Maybe I'm wrong, but brain, lung, heart, stomach. They did spell stomach wrong. Intestine, short tail, short, tall, curved claws. So yeah, okay, a couple mistakes, but overall, I mean, this thing is gorgeous. And here's another one. Create a fun cartoon ad using this image. So it's an orange Ridge wallet. Let's see what it looks like. There it is. The Ridge wallet, slim and stylish. I mean, it is so cool. There's so much potential here to create basically any type of media, any type of asset that you want for your business, for personal, for fun, memes, anything. Here's another one. You can use 4o to extract assets from thumbnails. So we have a Mr. Beast thumbnail and extracted the shark straight from it. And I've actually done that myself. I've extracted parts of my own thumbnails and it came out decently well. And you can also combine people into memes. So here's Sam Altman, here's the meme, and add Sam Altman's face to the guy standing up. And it's almost flawless. I see nothing wrong with this. Really matched the theme of the meme itself, of the meme picture that is. So really, really good. Here's another one. We have a product, create a Mad Men style print ad using this image. And there it is, a new shape of beauty. From the boardroom to the beach, confidence isn't just worn, it's felt. Introducing the Obvi Collagenic Collection, a trifecta of beauty and balance, detox, burn PM. And yeah, I mean, it looks really good and it feels like something that would be in the show Mad Men. And by the way, if you haven't seen that show, top 5 for me for sure. Here's another one. Jordan Singer says GPT-4o can actually create images in the style of the original iOS, easily creating skeuomorphic designs, which is the original design language of iOS. Here's another one, just gorgeous. Everything just looks flawless. Very few mistakes that we're seeing with this new 4o model. Here's another one. So we have a weather app, Cupertino, 73 degrees, partly cloudy. We have the nice shading over the lifted kind of middle card right here. The font looks great. All of the lettering looks great. Next, we have one from Ashish Singh. Here are a few kind of cartoonish drawn maps. Okay, so here's the Philippines. I mean, this looks like a kid's map, but that's the point. It's that style. Here's another one and another one, Croatia. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I don't think he provided any information other than make a map of Croatia in this style. So remember, this model is an omni model. It understands text, image, voice, all in one. It doesn't do any conversion. So it has all of the logic of the text models, except it can express itself in image. So if you say, write the snake game, except output the code in an image, it can do stuff like that, and it can understand the image. Very cool. Here's from Daria, somebody that I follow on Twitter. I highly recommend you do as well. He's a professor and biomedical scientist. So these are some of my favorite images created with OpenAI's 4o image generation. I made a comic series for children explaining the life of immune cells, T cells, which I had studied most of my life. It's unbelievably good. The comic series will continue. So here it is. I'm like blown away by how beautiful all of these things are. So guardians within birth. In the hidden chambers of thymus, amidst intricate pathways, an extraordinary journey begins. And it just continues. So here in a quiet sanctuary, so it's supposed to say sanctuary, so a little mistake there. T cells awaken, humble entities preparing, a little mistake there, for their vital mission. All right, so it's come a long way, but definitely still some errors with text. Curious, determined, ready to discover its purpose. A path awaits, filled with choices, challenges, and the promise to protect an entire universe within. So I'm not going to read all of this, but you can see the kind of grainy effect, kind of looks like an old school 60s maybe cartoon or comic strip, I should say. And yeah, here we go. Just beautiful. And again, I'll link all of this in the description below. Ant Wilson took a Rick and Morty cartoon, make this into a realistic photograph, and there it is. Yeah, frightening to say the least, but it has a little bit of uncanny valley to it, but overall it looks pretty darn good. Here's another one. If you're a fan of the All In podcast, Studio Ghibli style had to be done. Now, it's not all perfect. There are still some limitations. I love this photo, a Studio Ghibli photo of Rick Rubin, vibin'. He is now my spirit animal. So I wanted this as my Twitter header image, that really wide image. And I tried. I said, take this photo and make it much more horizontal dimensions so it will fit in a Twitter header. Did decently on the second try, but that's certainly not wide enough. And I kept saying, make it much wider, same size. So we are limited on the dimensions. And I went back and forth trying to do it, and it just could not make any wider dimensions than this. So get in there, try it out. Show me what you built on X. If you don't already follow me on X, at Matthew Berman, go ahead and tag me on whatever you create. I want to see it. I love this. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.